Jackie Helvey here, and I'm with one of my favorite people, Jane Filer. She's an artist who has been around for many years. She taught for many years at the Carborough Art Center and Mornings with Jane. Do you miss that, Jane?
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah. I didn't know why I quit that job because I loved it.
Yeah.
But I was 49, going to be 50, and that was like 13 years ago, and I think I just
Wow.
freaked out.
Yeah.
But, um, I uh, did all right. That was a good move for me because I thought, well, Jane, man, you're going to be 50, so what are you going to do next? I mean, this is it. Like, we're going to what's the next thing you want to do with your life? And I said, I want to be an artist, 100% artist.
Right.
And I love teaching. So after that, I did do once a year for the first 9 years after I retired from the art center. I taught a workshop at Emerald Isle, and I'd have like 40 participants.
Wow.
And we'd stay out there for 3 or 4 days and have just a big painting. I used to call it my workshop slash party. And it was great. It was great fun. I would always be so exhausted at the end of that.
Oh, I bet so.
And then John died, and I don't think I could do it without him because he did all the registration and organizing and troubleshooting while I was doing it, and so.
Well, life is an evolution, and you just got to roll with it. And everybody that I know who participated in Mornings with Jane said it was much more than an art class. Everybody said it was a life class.
Yeah,
she taught us
exactly.
about life.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's right. I mean, we talked about art, contemporary art issues. We talked about historical things. We talked about how do you make chicken soup, and life though. But I'm a bit of a philosopher, always have been. So and I always told my students, like, if they ask me a question, I just say, yeah, okay, when I said enough, because you ask me a little question, I'll go on and on, because one thing everything's connected.
Right.
And art is a way of life.
Yeah,
It's
and
living.
I mean, now you're doing it full time.
Yeah.
And once you left the teaching realm, your art really took off, and you're one of the fortunate artists who I don't think you can keep up with the demand for your work at this point.
If I could make twice as much art, I'd sell twice as much art.
Right.
But that isn't how it works with art.
Yeah.
And you just have to be content and happy and I am very, very happy. I mean, one of the best things that happened was my move to New Mexico, because Santa Fe is like the second biggest art market in the world, next to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize that, but that's how it stands. And I just read another article recently that made the same declaration, And going out to New Mexico, it's more than just selling art. It's the life, it's the artists that you meet, it's all the art that you see. I get up in the morning and go to a little Mexican cafe, and somebody just comes and brings a guitar and starts playing music, sitting on a stool playing music, and you're hanging out. And in the evening, I'd get up and get out of my studio and go for a walk into town. And oh man, and downtown, Santa Fe, and the old square, the big park, and poets writing. You could go up and pay a guy a couple dollars and have him write a poem about you, or anything you tell him to write about. And,
Right.
And some poor old chap playing pretty crummy guitar, wanting to sell you a broken bracelet or something. And, but the people that I meet, and all the you know, I live in a little casita, almost 100-year-old adobe house out there, and the landlady Rosetta, she's really nice, and Santos, the guy who comes and takes care of my broken pipes or whatever I have going wrong, you know, and it's just the, you know, the big blue sky and the no humidity, and it's fun, it's lovely, and
So you've kind of got the best of both worlds, because right now we're sitting in your studio in rural Orange County, North Carolina.
love it here.
Yeah,
I'll
and
never leave this place.
right. So you just go down to New Mexico whenever you want to get away for a
Yeah.
little while.
Yeah, I
So
go
that's
down there to
great.
work. Yeah,
That's just great.
it's kind of a retreat. I've been going down for about 8 years, pretty regular, and I've made some friends, and there's some really cool dives, really good music, you know, that I could just open my front door and walk up the street to, and you know, it's just an
Nice.
enriching life. But I love the ocean too. I've got a little place at the ocean here. I go down to the Keys regularly to visit my family, and I'll stay out there for a while and paint, and that influences some of my work too. And my mom used to say, "Are you at the ocean or the woods?"
Well, now you recently are working on, you just showed me a sculpture that you're
Yeah,
creating. So that's a whole
Yeah,
nother
I was
realm for
dabbling
you.
in that for a while, and then COVID came, and you know, the painting sales, they're happening, but they slowed up a little bit, just enough to, you know, give me time to do something else. And so I love painting. I keep painting, and they're selling, but I'm just waiting for COVID to end so that, you know, Santa Fe has been pretty closed. When it opens, I think things are going to get a lot better. I know they will.
Right.
Because it's just somewhere people go to from all over the world, and my paintings are all over the world because people are buying them out of Santa Fe.
That's where your gallery is that
Yeah.
you're being represented
Bill
now.
Hester Fine Art, and yeah, so
So Bill
I
Hester
just-
moved down there from here also,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Bill
Uh-huh.
Hester moved down there, and he was an interesting guy. And he'd call me a few times a year, and I was with Jane Tyndall, her gallery in Chapel Hill, and Bill Hester's was in Chapel Hill, and there's no way I could, you know, put work in his gallery, but he would call, and we'd just talk about art and stuff, and I never met him, and he moved
Oh,
out to
interesting.
New Mexico, and I had wanted to be in Santa Fe.
Mhm.
I knew I belonged there. I'd go visit with my husband, and we'd say, "Man, you belong here," and I did. I did, and
So you're there now.
yeah, he called me up one day about 8 years ago, and he said, he's got this deep voice. He's like, "Hey, Jane, I'm in Santa Fe." And I said, "You want some art?" And he just started laughing. I never even met him.
Wow.
We had nice, artful conversations on the phone 2 or 3 times a year. And he started laughing. He goes, "I like how you think." And then he said, "Yes, I do want some art."
And by that time, Jane was sort of out of business,
She was,
right?
yeah, she was closing. She had a long, slow transition from, I guess, closing the gallery and into her retirement. She, you know, University Mall in Chapel Hill, where she had her gallery, they didn't want that space empty, so she just kept. She was closed, but she could handle sales, and she wasn't really open. She wasn't having events or anything, but she'd put my paintings and some other artists' work too in the window, so that, you know, it looked nice. And so I was still making sales there, and then I just moved out to, and then she did reopen. She did reopen for a while, and I
Right.
had a show out there. Her one of the last shows that she had, and then she closed, and
Away you went.
yeah.
So
But
hold up.
things were going good in Santa Fe, though. You know.
That's good.
So-
Now you've done the book. Hold up your
yeah.
book.
Okay. I did this book. This is another infant of the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I had time to, and I worked with a longtime friend that I met in 1977
Oh,
at
wow.
College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, Chicago, near Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in art school together, and she helped me design it, and it's something that I always wanted to do. I'll give you a quick little
Yeah,
briefing
flip
look.
through.
But there's
It's your paintings.
yeah, it's my paintings.
Yay.
And so it's a book of paintings, and it's not a lot of words. There's an artist statement, and there's a poem, and another a foreword by my dealer, and pictures of art,
Now
which
what?
is my work, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was, you know, and I was thinking, like, you know, I don't want to tell where I've been, who all bought my art, and what, blah blah blah. It's about the art.
It speaks for
It's
itself.
about the paintings. The paintings are the paintings.
Right. Now,
And,
where can people find your book if they
Well,
want to get a copy of
they
it?
can go to my website, janefeiler.com, and I think my sister, who helps me with my website, I think she's put it on any page you land on. At the bottom of the page, it
That's
might
a good
say
idea.
how you can order a book.
Right.
There's a
I hate
limited
to have to hunt for stuff on a
yeah,
website.
and it's
you
not
know?
like on Amazon or anything like that. That wasn't my intention. I wanted to compile some work, and this is number one. Already this summer I'll be starting number two. This is something that at this point in my life I just want some sort of reference, you know,
Right.
some sort of documentation, you know, something to kind of just leave in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And it's self-published. But it's in an art way that this is made.
Mhm.
I printed 500 copies. There will never be another copy of this book. I made 500.
Oh,
When they're
wow.
gone. They're gone already. 100 are gone.
Mm-hmm.
But when this book is gone, it's gone. And each one is hand signed. I signed the front page, and that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it's so great to see you and catch up with you.
Yeah, God, Jackie, it's so good to see you too.
Yeah.
It's
well-
good to hug you. We're
yeah,
both
I know.
vaccinated.
It was so great to get a hug.
Yeah.
Well, you continued success, of course, you will as we're entering this next stage of our lives. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
love
great to see you. And I love you and take care of yourself.
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.